What's up, guys? So I got asked to do a video about how to balance your strength and conditioning with your martial arts training if you're trying to be an MMA fighter. Now, this is can be a controversial subject for a lot of people, and it also can be a broad subject as far as there's multiple options. But I would say that it depends on the level of fighter you're trying to be. If you're trying to be a high-level UFC level fighter, things are different than if you're just trying to fight a couple amateur MMA fights. But I would say for most people, not the guys that have been training their whole life is completely different than someone starting new. And I always give these examples because I feel like a lot of coaches and a lot of people don't tell you this. I didn't start training until I was 20 years old. So the way I had to model my career was drastically different than a guy that's been wrestling since he was 10 years old, or doing jiu-jitsu since he was 8. Or boxing since he was a teen, or whatever. When you start at 20 years old, and that's in anything. I started boxing at 20 years old. I didn't start grappling until I was 22. But I didn't do a bunch of strength and conditioning because I was so far behind on the technique of everything, of boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kicking. Every bit of technique was learned late in life, so I had to fast track my process of learning technique. So I was fortunate enough. I had a athletic background where I played football, basketball, and ran track in school and everything. And I lifted. I was very skinny, but I was very strong for my size. So I believe a lot of the strength and conditioning stuff needs to come when you're younger, honestly. Like I coach guys that played sports when they were young their whole life, and I've coached guys that have not played sports at all and didn't start really training anything until they started martial arts. And I see a drastic difference in the athleticism and the strength and the physical strength and everything because of the base they got when they were young. But if you're just a regular guy coming in, let's say you start training at 18, 19, 20 years old, I would say you don't have time. Plus you have a full-time job. It's unlikely that you're starting at 18, 19 years old and going to be able to train full-time unless your parents are rich or something, which in that case you probably had other options and they probably don't want you to be a fighter anyway. But I would say if you start later in life, you have to add it in on top of the training. And what I mean is, let's say you do grappling and you do striking for an hour a day. Let's say you do a 2-hour practice, an hour grappling, hour striking for 4 or 5 days a week. I would say you need to add it in at the end. Maybe in between rounds you do 10 or 20 push-ups. Maybe at the end of practice you do 200 push-ups, and like in my gym we have a pull-up bar. We have one of the big ropes you can climb also. Those are really, really good to build the upper body strength. Let's say you have a 2-hour practice. Afterwards, maybe you can do every other day. Maybe every other day. You obviously don't do strength training every day. But I do believe in strength training. I just don't believe in giving up a full hour of your practice to go do strength and conditioning when you only have 2 hours a day to practice in general. So I would say if you're training full-time, it's different. But if you're not and you're just a regular individual working and trying to pursue this, you add it on at the top. So maybe 3 days a week you do 100 to 200 push-ups, and you do 30 to 50 pull-ups, and you do some lunges just with your body weight. You do some jump squats. You do some regular squats. You maybe every time you shoot a double leg, you pick the body up and lift the person and make yourself strong that way. There's several options to get strong without giving up your time to like a full hour to a strength and conditioning practice. So I would say add it on at the top. Maybe all of that after practice takes you 20 to 30 minutes. So let's say even 20 minutes. You could do 200 push-ups and 30 to 50 pull-ups and 100 jump squats and 100 lunges all within a 20-minute time period. So that extends your practice from 2 hours to 2 hours and 20 minutes of your daily practice. That's the best way I would say for most people need to do strength and conditioning, because if you're not a full-time fighter and you're starting this even at 18, 19 years old now is late, considering there's people that have been training their entire life, and you're trying to pursue this at any level, you're trying to go far. This is what I did. If you're trying to go far, try to go to the UFC, or you're just trying to be a regular fighter to have a couple fights, 2 or 3 amateur fights and then quit, you still need to be strong. You still need to be in shape. So for conditioning, for strength training, you do that. For conditioning, you just go live. You go live and you go hard. You want strength and conditioning, go hit the bag 10 rounds. Do 10 or 15 rounds on the bag. 3 minute to 5 minute round with 1 minute break. that's going to gas you out. Hit that bag hard, get conditioning, go live rounds, grapple, come in and say, I'm going to roll 10 rounds straight. I'm going to do 10 5-minute rounds or 10 4-minute rounds or whatever your coach has, and do as many rounds as you can. You have to get your strength training and your conditioning training through the practices. Either shortly after, like doing the push-ups, pull-ups, or during the practice, going live rounds, wrestling, going hard, and getting yourself exhausted. That's really the only way. The people that always say, oh, I need to get in shape and then I'm going to come to practice, usually don't work out. And you can't focus, if you only train 2 hours a day, like 5 days a week, you can't focus an hour a day on strength and conditioning. It's just, it's not sustainable to build a career because you're so far behind from a technique standpoint that's my best options for you guys. So any other questions or anything you'd like me to talk about, leave a comment below. If you're new to martial arts, get my book, The Ultimate Guide to Choosing Your Martial Arts School and Instructor. The link is in the description below. It'll help you find a gym in your area. Thank you guys.